try to keep this somewhat short because our videos tend to
go too long.
Yeah.
And ramble.
What? Us ramble? Never.
Hey, we're two fat guys.
And we just watched Man of Steel.
Hey.
Not to be confused with Steel. Which is a
much better film.
Don't say that.
Let me give it another shot. I can't remember it. It's been a while. Maybe we should.
Okay, then you go watch Steel.
Fire it up again.
And we'll be right back after Brandon rewatches Steel.
I think if we side by side them, they're going to link up a lot. It's like Dark Side of the Moon and Wizard of Oz.
Well, except with 2 video.
Yeah, because also it takes Superman 4.5 hours to put on a suit too, right? And fight crime.
Man, but that was one good thing about Man of Steel.
Yeah,
Superman,
right away.
He's like, oh, I found a suit. I better put that on.
And start flying around and doing awesome shit. Yeah, he doesn't fuck around.
Yeah. I overall definitely positive.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll probably do nitpicky things because it gets boring just
going,
oh, I like this, I like this.
Oh my god, it's so good in the action.
But overall, very happy with it. Like, I don't know if I'm going to see it, 3 times like I did the Avengers, but
yeah, it's a weird thing where I think more than the movie itself, I'm excited for the continuation of this version of Superman.
Yeah.
I like the kind of mythology they set up, very, and intentionally so, Batman Begins-y. Very, hey, what if instead of, 1950s Norman Rockwell era Superman being all heroic, we have him kind of set more, like, having grown up in the 80s and 90s. Like.
Yeah, because on that point, like, I love Christopher Reeve, what he did with we extolled his praises pretty extensively on these videos.
Even in Superman 3 and 4.
Yeah, even in Superman 3 and 4 we gave him props. Having said that, I really like how textured this Superman is, and I think that's going to lead to a very interesting Lex Luthor. Like, whereas I love Superman Lex Luthor in the old films, it was very... It was campy at times, and and this, I think, is going to lead to a very good Lex Luthor.
So I was thinking about Lex Luthor, who obviously not in the film. Like, you see some LexCorp stuff, but
that's
no,
fine.
No presence in the film. Didn't miss him. All I can think of is Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, he's kind of getting big right now.
What, just so all the Americans in Superman can be played by British people? Is that
yes?
Is that the goal?
That way, while they're all here taking our acting jobs, we can...
You and I'll be Sherlock and Moriarty?
Yep. Perfect.
All right, I'm on board. I could see that. I wish Kevin Spacey, at this point, like, as much as I love watching Superman Returns, he was the best part of it. I wish he hadn't done it then so they could cast him as it now, because...
So it's the same problem as J.K. Simmons being old Spider-Man. And,
yeah.
Well, now I guess we just can't ever show J. Jonah Jameson in the reboot.
That's true. Because I think he would do such... Because this Lex is not like this mustache-twirling villain like he's made up... Like in Superman, the original movie from the 70s. Like, he's like, immediately conniving to take over the world and being really nefarious. More so than just like a regular businessman, which is really what he starts out as. And I think this one's going to rise from a very natural sort of sympathetic position, like, oh shit, did you see what that guy can do? They just leveled Metropolis. That's not okay. We need to take this guy down. Yeah,
I remember, because right after we saw the movie, you had mentioned, and I loved it, like, during the credits, you're like, I can kind of see where Lex is coming from now. Like, maybe this guy shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah. Because you saw what happened.
Yeah, Metropolis gets leveled.
Real bad. It's real bad. Which looked great.
Because at one point I'm like, are they even in Metropolis anymore, or is this just the dreamscape from Inception, where just all it was crumbling buildings? Because that's pretty much what it looks like.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so I'm just going over a lot of good things. Going in before the full trailer started, with just the teaser was out, just the hey, he's kind of like Batman, right? Teaser trailer was out. Very worried they were going to shy away from the Superman-ness of Superman. Did not at all.
No, not at all.
They throw you on Krypton hard and for an extended duration.
I almost didn't want them to leave. Krypton looked awesome. And
the action was great. They get the alien. They throw the alien at you very hard, very fast, and make sure you can't forget it in the story. They don't have a flashback to it. It starts there, and more so than even in the old ones, where it was like this weird sort of ethereal place.
Yeah, super society.
Yeah, like this was
Like Krypton is an advanced society, but they're a society with issues. Like
Yeah.
they're not a perfect like world where Zod was just this nefarious, outlier. In fact, at the beginning, Zod was like, "Hey, Krypton is fucked up, and we need to these dudes in charge are ruining it, and we need to stop them."
Yeah, just they like him and Jor-El had come to the same conclusion. They just went about it radically different ways, which makes sense. One's a scientist, one's a military leader. So.
As they point out in the movies, they were literally born to have those different identities.
Starting with that, very good. I think they did just enough loner wandering around the world, saving random people, without making it too heavy. Because when I first saw it, I was like, man, he's gonna be like a crab fisherman for half this movie, and it's just these small little things you can, and you get very quickly that his life has been okay. I'm gonna save the world like one random person at a time, and then I have to move on. I thought that was very well done and paced. The flashbacks to the childhood were good, so you don't have the sort of very linear.
Yeah, it was a very oddly paced movie, but that doesn't mean poorly paced. It was a bit strange at times, but it kept moving, and I think helping that was Zack Snyder is definitely a fan of big set piece action moments.
Yeah,
which are awesome. Like sometimes they felt a little forced, but I didn't care in the movie.
Yeah, while watching
it, I'm like, it's a tornado and it's
they're
tearing
always
up this.
Yeah, they're always entertaining. They always they didn't feel out of place and just now a giant spider's here.
Yeah.
Speaking of Superman movies. So I really liked the sort of pacing of it. As the pacing, as I mentioned before, to you before, with Superman's mythos, that's the problem. With a normal origin story, okay, you have the turning point where I fall in toxic waste, or I get bitten by a radioactive bug, or I take monk training because my parents got killed. It's not sort of the normal. There's not like one moment that turning point, now I'm a superhero. It's I have superpowers because I'm a kid and I'm not going to fight crime until I'm like 20 something. So how do I have an origin story? Yeah. Your origin story is your childhood and your puberty, and then coming to maturation.
The equivalent of an origin story of just a dude.
So you can't really. It's hard to pace it, and they did a great job of showing a few scenes of very young Kent, a few scenes of teenage Kent, and a few little moments, and connecting a few characters to his present,
and framing it all in the flashbacks, so it didn't feel jumpy.
Yes, so that way, sort of the flashbacks bled out of what had just happened. Like, hey, maybe he would think about this thing that happened to him at this moment. It wasn't like super like, oh man, I remember this. Like, it's not like he saw a glove or something and then
flashback. It wasn't a literal flashback.
It was a sort of a thematic thing. Like, okay, this just happened to him, so let's go back to like the first time he was struggling with powers, or the first time he like had helped someone and people caught him, so he had to move on.
It actually was one of my favorite moments. Was kind of a callback to the flashback of when Zod first gets his helmet removed and feels the reaction of getting those superpowers for the first time. Where we saw Clark, he was Clark then. Clark Kent get those powers, and like his mom come in and kind of help him through that. But it was obviously this really traumatic thing for young Clark. And then we see Zod in the middle of this big fight, like, oh, I can see my bones now, like, oh shit, like having the same reaction, and we totally buy it because we've seen this little kid freak out at the same thing.
Yeah. The effects on that were great. Just the pacing was very good. As I mentioned, it's sort of reminiscent of Smallville, where they take the time, like, oh, he develops one power at a time. You can't really do that in the movie. So they did a good job of, like, here's a flash of him getting all this stuff thrown at him, and then, like, having the nice moment with his mom where he learns to deal with it. And I felt that was satisfactory. I didn't need to see, like, oh, well, how do you learn to shoot his laser vision right? Like, it was sort of all in one very nice little sequence with him and his mom. The greatest accomplishment of this film, and the greatest sort of change to sort of your typical Superman story, is that Lois Lane immediately finds Superman. She is one of the best investigative reporters in the world,
and prize-winning reporter.
And her takes her half a montage to get there, and thank God, finally. Like, all the times, Lois like, I wonder who it could be. This guy sitting next to me in glasses. Clark was hiding actively, and she's like, oh, okay, well, I know this about him. And she follows her leads, and she
talks to like 4 people and gets to him. And And actually, yeah, because she got to him before we as an audience realized that she had gotten to him. Like, she got to the mom, so I figured that they were going to have a scene with her and the mom talking, and then it cuts to the grave, and then he's there. And I'm like, oh, all right, no. All right, we're already here.
She immediately drops him, and thank goodness.
Yeah.
Not to jump all over the movie, but then, to bookend that nicely, they introduce the Clark with the glasses working at the Daily Planet at the end. Which, with the exception of him not looking at all different, I was a fan of. I was a fan of them having him be Clark at the end, just like that nice little, hey,
Yeah.
we understand this how Superman works, here's a little story. I wish they would have made an attempt to hide him, since they did such a good job with so many other things, of sort of modernizing and updating some of the Superman feel. I wish they would have made him try to hide himself a little more. And I think in the next movie, well, because there'll be a next movie,
Yeah.
made enough money. Yeah, it was the biggest June opening. In the next movie, I think you will see a more actively disguised Clark.
Well, because he'll have to be, probably, after leveling Metropolis. I think that's where we're going to kind of dial it back and do a more human as opposed to the more Kryptonian story.
Mm-hmm. I'm really looking forward to Lex. Like,
yeah.
Even
if they do Lex kind of how, which would be good for, hey, this billionaire comes in and helps rebuild the city, and then also says, hey, maybe Superman's not a good idea, and everyone's like, oh yeah.
Actually, no, people are like, no, he's the best, and he loses it. It's like, no, that's not okay.
Well, yeah, there's
a lot of really good things. I did read, I had made a comment to you that you sort of didn't really agree with. So, big fight, we're just sort of jumping all around, because who cares?
Yeah.
A big fight at the end, like the big dramatic final end of the fight is Superman snaps Zod's neck, because, like,
spoilers.
Superman has, like, defeated Zod, like, he beat him in this giant fight that takes an appropriate amount of time. Like, it felt like the right amount of giant fight. And then Zod's like, well, if I'm gonna lose, I might as well kill some people. So he, like, starts laser visioning, and, like, Superman has him in the headlock, and he's, like, laser visioning towards these people. And then Superman's like, I have no other choice, I'm gonna snap their neck. Which, first off, I don't know why these people didn't run, because it's a very sort of, like, prolonged moment. But whatever. That's innocent bystanders.
There's rubble on the other side.
Yeah, they're innocent bystanders.
Lasers, rubble. Like,
yeah. If they ran, they wouldn't be innocent bystanders. But then Superman's like, okay, it's my only option, snaps his neck. So I made the comment at the time, and I'm going to slightly backpedal on this. I made the comment at the time that I wish they would have set that up a little more. If they would have at least had a little more time for us to see that, like, killing is the line for Superman. Obviously, he's a good guy. He doesn't want to kill people. That sort of goes without saying. But there was never a moment before where it was like, oh man, killing would have been the right thing, like, would have helped here, or killing would have been this or that, but I can't. That is the line. I can't do it. It's a major bad thing. Like, I'm pretty sure everything Zod did justified killing at that point. Like, I don't care how wishy-washy you are. Like, I think everyone's gonna be alright with Superman.
That was the point. It wasn't Zod going crazy and going, well, I guess I'm going to kill people now. It was Zod realizing he was defeated, and he had no other choice but to make Superman kill him. And that was the way to keep his pride or honor or whatever.
I'm not complaining about it from Zod's side. I'm complaining about Superman's side, and, like, I just wish they would have stepped a little more. And then apparently everyone on the internet got all butthurt about this, and like, what? Superman can't kill people?
Really?
I'm an internet kid. Yeah. Because Superman's super truth, justice, lawful good, American pie.
Yeah, in the 50s.
And that's what it's like, oh, it's too dark and brooding. He's not Batman. He's not gonna... First off, Batman wouldn't kill people, but he's not Batman. He's not going to do this stuff. And I was like, that's... So, their strong reaction, I'm like, well, F you. I just thought it should have been set up a little better. I was fine with the point. Like, the plot point itself made perfect sense to me. I was really happy with it. So, F you guys. I'm going to back off a bit so I don't get grouped in with you. Yeah, so thank you, nerds on the internet. You made me back off a stance that I one time held.
Yeah, I liked that moment just because, as I said at the time, I thought it was less even, oh, I don't want to kill someone. This is the, like, only other Kryptonian I've met. Like, this is the future for my people, but he couldn't compromise on, yeah, we'll have to kill all these humans, but...
Mm-hmm. I understand all the background of it and all the points it does make.
Yeah.
Just that I didn't think it has much direct setup. It's specifically the yell, too. The yell after he does it, like, this echoey yell, and, like, it came across a little melodramatic to me. Like I said, though, I enjoyed the movie. These are sort of nitpicky things. I really liked Jonathan's death. Because Jonathan Kent's doomed from the get-go, then he Superman's story. I like how they did it. I like that it was connected to the origin story, because, I mean, everyone's father figure's death is connected to their origin story.
Yeah.
I thought they did it pretty well. And just, I mean, great cast.
Yeah.
So, he just shakes his head, just so great. You can just tell right there, he's like, all right, this is it. This is what we have to do.
It was also good in that the big, violent... these movies are pretty violent and brutal in some parts, but that death, which was a very important death, was
not. It was not visceral.
It wasn't visceral. It was almost ethereal. Like it was just this huge rampaging tornado, and then just he's obscured, and he's no longer there. And it was a great moment. Like I said, I think Zack Snyder did a great job of tying in that big set piece action to
it's not like he had a rebar through his chest or something.
Yeah, which I was almost thinking no, and then I was pleasantly shocked with how good that moment was.
Overall, like we said, good movie. It wasn't enough to make me think, and I don't know what the movie could have done. I don't think you could have done anything with this movie to make me think, Justice League is going to be pretty good. I don't
think you could have.
I think they're going to force out Justice League, and I think it's going to be a mess sandwich. I think you're looking Green Lantern at best out of the Justice League movie. Hate to say it. Love the characters. Well, maybe that's a little harsh. Maybe a little better than Green Lantern.
I don't know. I think I have no idea what they're going to do for a Justice League movie, so I can't even prejudge it. Like I said, it's easy to be like, oh, it's probably going to be a mess, but...
It's
maybe,
possible,
but
they could fix it. They have some very good comics writers, and if they use the right people, like that's what Marvel did. They used the right people.
Oh man, we have so many characters. We need a guy who's gonna take all these characters and be able to write good group scenes, and also is a big nerd and will get us some nerd cred. If only there was someone who could do that.
I mean, it's also with the individual movies, because this this was very David Goyer. He did write this right. I'm not going to say huge jackass. Whatever. If I do, I don't care.
I know he at least did concept stuff for it. I can't remember if he actually did right.
I feel like he read the screen. It was very similar. It was very similar aesthetic to sort of how it begins, whereas the Marvel had a very different feel. And even the individual writers, the writer for Captain America got it. The writer for Thor got it. They understand the characters. They built the world right. And I think they're on part because first off, they're going to be introducing possibly a new Batman in this movie. They're going to be introducing Wonder Woman in the movie, at least if the current talks are true, and they're going to force it out for 2015. It's possible, but talk to me when trailer number 2 comes out, and then we'll see how I feel.
Yeah. What's next for DC?
Next for DC, probably Justice League.
Surely something else is coming up.
Steel 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Exactly, Steel 2. I don't know.
Steel 2, he takes even longer to put on the suit. Or the crossover, Man of Steel. It's very confusing.
No, that's independent. I was like the RIPD stuff, but
that's
Dark Horse.
That's Dark Horse.
It's not DC.
Yeah, it's not. We don't know DC well enough.
I don't know my phone with me,
so who knows when we'll see you?
Yeah.
Maybe never again. Well, we'll see you for Marvel next, I guess. So
yeah,
we can blaspheme on the DC Dementia video and talk about Marvel, which we already did.
Yeah, we already did a bunch.
So fuck you, Internet. Fuck you.
Also, I forgot that I like Russell Crowe as an actor.
Yeah.
And I think Les Mis
hurt us so bad.
Me so much.
Oh man, yeah. Because there was even one moment where he just sort of sounded like Javert, and I was like, "Fuck you! You're the worst actor ever."